Welcome to the Japanese Pokemon Market Report, your one stop shop for all things Japanese Pokemon, from singles and sealed, movers and fallers, and everything in between. My name's Yanni from YJK Trading. Our question for the day is going to be, which one of the mythical Pokemon is your favorite? For me personally, I think I'd have to give it to Celebi, but let me know what you think down below. With that all the way, though, let's check in on the markets. First thing I think 100% worth looking at is definitely what's been happening with Sealed. I've been seeing it especially the last few weeks with sets like Ninja Spinner, Inferno X, Mega Brave, Mega Symphonia, that the prices have been spiking up like crazy. Take a set like Ninja Spinner, where normally when sets release, they have a tumultuous downfall for the first like month or two while people rip and get it out of their systems. Here you can kind of see it started at around 88 back in the middle of March and shot all the way up to almost $100 where it's been kind of sitting at today. You'll see the same trend with things like Mega Dream, where it's been sitting at $87 back in the beginning of March, shot back up to 112 as of today. Inferno X, similar vein, sitting at around the $119 mark, shooting up to 131. Mega Brave, 86 to 95, and Mega Symphonia, 80 to 88. So a lot of movement around there. I think the biggest thing and what's happening is a lot of people from the English side have been starting to move over towards Japanese. I think the price point that some of these English cards have been hitting is causing some people to gravitate away. Like, I don't even think I need to point out some of these prices might be pushing some more casual collectors away from here. I don't think little Timmy has 1200 for a Mega Gengar, 800 for a Pikachu, and 700 for a Dragonite. I don't know how many kids are walking around with 3K in their pockets. But I do think these sets are something to definitely keep an eye on, especially with the volume that these sets have been selling with. Take, for example, Ninja Spinner. You can see that even in the last 24 hours, you can see that there's been well over 50 to 60 sales just on TCG Player alone. That's not counting third-party sites like PokeAny or any other, content creators that happen to have their own shops. You'll see a same vein with Mega Dream, where minus the Korean listings, we still have been having plenty of sales that are justifying this price point. So sealed is definitely one of those things. If you're thinking about getting it, now might be the time to do that. I think a card definitely worth keeping your eye on is the Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX from Mega Dream. You can see definitely in the sales data that over the last 2 weeks, it's jumped up from around 111 up to 122, and that's because of a buyout that's actually been happening on the site over the last 3 days or so. You can see in the last 3 days, we've had just about 10 sales of this card, and it looks as though somebody's been buying them out. Now, don't panic yet. Don't go, oh my God, market manipulation, they're coming over, because we actually see the same type of trends over on the Japanese side. So this is the price chart that we're seeing over in the Japanese card shops for the same Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. So we can see that in the last 2 weeks, we've had about a 50% price jump from around 19,000 yen to 32,000 yen, which is roughly $120 to about $200 USD. And you can see that reflected in some of the prices over here. You can see that there's been recent sales over here for 162 from Surugaya, 187 from UUT, and we have some listings that are recently up for in around the 200 to 205 range from Toreka Camp and Hareruya 2. That's going to be hard to pronounce. So it's definitely a consistent trend between both markets with the Team Rockets Mewtwo, but I will definitely say if you can find some deals in any of your next shows for this card, it might be worth it to grab because between both of these charts with both markets, the card may be going up. So it could be a decent hold. I think the last thing to definitely keep an eye on between the English and Japanese markets is Ninja Spinner, specifically with the gold rares or the mega ultra rares. We can see, for example, that a lot of the mega ultra rares haven't been well received in the English markets over here. So, for example, we can see that since this card has come out just about a month ago, we've had two sales, one for 500, one for 440, and you can see a lot of people listing them, even a low listing of 400 that has not been selling. That sentiment is definitely not shared with the Japanese market, where you can see over here that there has been a lot of activity with this card. More specifically, we've been seeing price increases from around 90,000 yen, which is around $550, up to around 115,000 yen. which is right around, if I'm doing my math correctly, like 700, $750. And you can see here with some of the recent sales, 741 from Card Rush. We see a 678 sale from Suruguya, as well as some listings up from Toreka Camp from 804 and Hareruya 2 for 753. So the sentiment is definitely there on the Japanese side. At least overseas, they are really liking these mega ultra rares. And I don't know why it is not the case over in the English market. So this may be an opportunity to grab down here. Do not ship those from overseas. You are not going to be a happy camper. To reflect on some of the other prices that have been happening, specifically with the Ninja Spinner sets, I think a couple of the cards that I want to look at is definitely going to be the chase of the set, the Mega Greninja EX SAR. So for this one, we've been seeing a lot more activity on it. This is definitely like the Giratina VMAX of the set, the chase. And you can see that reflected in its sales. A lot of people buying it 320 down to 300, and now it's kind of sitting in that 290 range, 295 range. So it's still dropping a little bit, which is normal for sets that have just come out, especially with the English set coming out soon. Over in the Japanese market, now that's where you'll see there's actually a little bit of a discrepancy for the better with the Japanese fans. So you'll see down here, it's actually had a bit of a drop as well. Some of the lowest sales recently, we've had 306, 306. Lowest listings right now from Monosaurus for 251 and Toreka Camp for 268. So it looks like it's starting to stabilize a little bit, at least in the Japanese market, or it's starting to drop down. So it's definitely something you want to keep an eye on, maybe wait before getting this card, see if there's a price correction between English and Japanese markets, or if it keeps dropping in Japanese, that could be something to import over. And then most of these cards, to be honest with you, they're all under 50 bucks and they're not going to be moving much less a few dollars. So I kind of want to go more rapid fire. There's a big difference in price with a decent chunk of these cards, specifically between English and Japanese markets. So I'll take like the first five, for example. We got the Cincino at 48, Roxy's at 47, Dragalge at 37, Tranquility at 34, and the Mega Greninja SR at 30. Keep in mind with the Roxys and the AZs, these are dropping cards because of the discrepancy between listing and market. This is usually indicative of people that are trying to move these cards and their sale prices aren't working. So they are lowering it to try to get rid of them. So keep that in mind as you're shopping around. And you'll see similar when you actually look at the Japanese listings. So if we take a look at those same cards, we actually have for the Roxy's performance, we have people selling it in Japan for as low as $11, $11, $11, a sale for 10, 12, 12. So the card's been kind of stabilizing right around 2000 yen. And same thing with the AZ's Tranquility. You can see sales for $6, $8, $9. And a lot of the stores like Monosaurus and UUT, Toricolo got those around $9. So these cars have definitely found their point here, and especially in America, hold off on getting these trainers. Sucks. I have an AZ Tranquility and I love it, but definitely something you want to wait on. And you'll see similar ideas as well when it comes to the Pokemon. So I'll show you one last example here. So between the Cincino, the Mega Dragalge, and the Mega Greninja, we said we had the Cincino at 48, the Dragalge at 38, and the Greninja at 30. So in the Japanese markets, what we're going to see is actually lower pricing. We're going to see the Cincino sitting at around recent sales with 24, 27, listings at Toreka Camp at 27, Hareruya at 26, Monosaurus 25. The Dragalge, we actually have sitting at around 14 to $15 roughly. Listings all over the place up to today from $12 at Amenity Dream up to $19 at Monosaurus. And finally, we'll look at that Greninja Ultra Super Rare. That one's actually been dropping down to around 2,800 yen, which is roughly, if I'm doing my math right, $12. No, not $12. I am way off on my math. That is $18. So We'll see similar here with a lot of recent listings for this card, ranging from 14.50 at Amenity Dream up to $20 at Torocolo, where it's middling at like 17.50 for Toreka Camp. So I will say with a lot of these like middle-ish cards and sets, it's usually a much better price point in Japan. But I mean, with all the tariffs happening right now, it's rough, but there are some deals to have there. I hope that I was able to give you guys a little bit of a peek into how the English and Japanese markets have been acting, especially within the last week. If you guys enjoyed this little analysis, please make sure to subscribe down below as I try to do these weekly, as well as other little Japanese Pokemon challenges and other videos like that. Have a great day, guys.